أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله. This is a podcast of Deen and for old woman. The most important thing that we are required is to make sure that we keep our soul cleansed and purified, meaning do not do things that are forbidden, because when we do things that are forbidden to us, we dirty our soul. It's like, in physical realm, this is a metaphysical, the soul, but even in physical realm, you see when your surroundings are dirty, your bedding is really dirty, your clothes are really dirty, your food is dirty. You don't want to be any part of that. You want the bed to be clean, you want your clean clothes, you want a clean food. Who wants to have food that's old, that's rotten, and that's dirty? Nobody wants that. Similarly, Allah does not want us to dirty our soul. He doesn't want that. Allah wants us to cleanse it and purify it. And this is made very clear in Surah Ash-Shams, where Allah takes oath. And nowhere in the Quran Allah takes so many oaths the way Allah takes in Surah Ash-Shams. And it alerts us to the fact that this is really important surah, because the whole purpose of our creation, of us being here, of the life we're leading, is to keep our soul clean and purified, and to prevent it from being soiled or dirty or defiled, to making sure that it remains clean. And subhanallah, success comes when we purify soul. So we have goodness in this life and life after death as well. But failure comes from when we corrupt the soul. And subhanallah, when we corrupt the soul, when we make the soul dirty, filthy, corrupt, what happened? The inner fitra, the moral compass that we have, it becomes faulty. It starts working. It doesn't function. So when we do wrong things, we are not aware of it. Our conscience, we don't have guilty conscience. We just keep on doing it, and then there comes a time when Allah stamps our heart, and we can't see what's right and what's wrong. And subhanallah. So Allah tells us in this surah how important it is to keep the soul purified. And subhanallah. So the surah is about opposite things in this world. It begins with the most important natural phenomena, which is the glorious sun, the source of light and our physical life. Without sun, there could be no light. So Allah begins, it draws our attention, look at the sun, and didn't look at the benefits of the sun. Obviously, where there's no sun, there'll be no life. Our life literally depends on the creation of Allah, which is He made sun for us benefit. And wallahi, everything in creation has been created for our benefit. But we human beings are unaware, are neglectful, we turn the other way, and we look at things that are useless and they're irrelevant and they have no benefit, rather than looking at a little ant and seeing what role it plays in the ecology of the environment, how it contributes towards the environment. Even a little plant, how much it contributes. And in the overall divine frame of things, it's because of our benefit. And subhanallah, Allah tells us that everything in creation is worshipping Allah. So we have to draw lessons from it. Then Allah talks about the moon, which follows, or is a sort of a second to the sun, because it's illuminating the world by its phases. We estimate the months, because in the good old days, when there was no calendar, people will go by the moon, calculating the month. When it's a full moon, it's the mid-month, and it's small, it's the beginning, and small, it's the end of the month. So I suppose to say in one way, a calendar is like the sun, like a clock for us, and the moon is also, we have to keep a track of time. Subhanallah. So Allah has put all these things in order for us to have a good quality of life. And then Allah goes into explaining in the Surah Shams that the next contrasting pair, the surah describes the next consists of condition or period of time, day and night. The day reveals the sun glory and the night covers the light and we experience darkness. These opposite can indicate to us that when we hit rock bottom and we are in the gloom of darkness, we should never forget that there will be another day and the sun will rise. So subhanallah, and there's so many lessons to be drawn from when Allah turns our attention to observe and reflect. Because the more we reflect, the more we use our intellectual ability and the more, the intellect will grow. So when we, look at the opposites, we understand how, we shouldn't be really, really upset, and that hopefully when we are really down in the depth, that we will have a, better time. There will be a day will come. So subhanallah. So this is the day and night, and then when we further look at the surah, subhanallah, it shows that the sun not only is a source of light, but it also gives us so many other things, nutrients, and it makes the plant grow, and the light. Wallahi, there's numerous, you cannot count. And that's why in Surah Rahman, Allah says, "Oh man, if you were to count my blessing, you will never be able to count them." And subhanallah. So Allah always tells us this, and one of the main lessons from day and night is how we're supposed to regulate our activity. During the day, we're supposed to go and look for our sustenance, work, or have our careers or whatever we're supposed to do. And at night, Allah has given us peace and tranquility so we can rest. And Allah tells us to reflect on the day. And subhanAllah, then Allah talks about the contrast, is this wonderful expansion, the sky and then the earth. And again, we see how in the sky, how the rains that falls in the earth, it produces all kind of greenery, which is not only food for us and animals, but it gives delight to the onlooker. Subhanallah, when we have, a field or garden, and it's summer, and then the rain falls, you see the lush green vegetation growing, and it gives such delight to the onlooker. So Allah explains that, and subhanallah. And Allah also, tells us to reflect, so we can also draw parallel between the reproduction of human being from the water or sperm of the male and the fertilization of fetus in the womb of the mother. And this is a further explains how Allah creates and how He produces the two opposites, male and female, and a new creation comes out of it. Subhanallah. So Allah does all this so that we can draw lessons. And Allah tells us the story of people of Thamud, that when they didn't follow, Prophet Salih, how they were destroyed. They had a beautiful civilization, a very complex and very sophisticated civilization. And Allah sent them Prophet Salih, who told them that obey Allah and live by the commandment of Allah. They were arrogant and they rejected their Prophet. And Allah gave to test them. They said to the people of the Salih alayhi salam said to him, the Prophet, we don't believe you. Why don't you produce a camel out of a rock, a mountain? And Allah gave a miracle. The camel came out of the rock animal, but there were conditions, as everything in life. And Allah said, look, I created this, produced this miracle, what you have to do, you mustn't harm the camel. And they had a well of water. He said one day the camel will drink it and you mustn't interfere with it, and the following day the people will drink it. So these were the conditions, but the people were arrogant. And when you're arrogant and you reject the signs of Allah, you deny the signs of Allah, you become hard-hearted, you lose your moral compass, you don't care about the consequence, you don't reflect, and it's a spiral, and you create or you make your own self-destruction. Eventually you destroy yourself. And this is an example given in this nation, a story of Thamud, people of Salihah. So what they did, they got together and they said, oh, look at this camel, blah, 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 we should kill it. And then they asked who will do it. And one of them volunteered. And they went and they killed the camel. And then Allah's wrath fell upon them. And they were totally destroyed. And subhanAllah, when the Quran was revealed and the Prophet, peace be on him, would, recite this Quran, the revelation of God to other people, and there were Jews and Christians, and they knew all about these stories. So Allah is reiterating them, that tell them, look what happens with arrogance. Even to this day, arrogance is the mother of all evil. From it produces jealousy, being proud, having this airs and graces, think you're better than them, and not having justice, then slowly becoming cruel, becoming manipulative, trying to control others, being greedy. It all stems from arrogance. And wallahi, each one of us, we must have to see how much arrogant we have. And there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said that you will not enter paradise if you have an ounce of arrogance in your heart. So we should all make dua, oh Allah, cleanse our heart from arrogance. And I mean, this is story of nations, but in our own personal life, between the spouses, between the siblings, between the colleagues, between the neighbors, between the communities, between the friends, the root cause of dissension, what's the word? Dissension is the arrogance. That is a cause of all arguments and eventually fight and eventually killing. Subhanallah. One nation think they're better than the other, they think they have more right on their land, then they start declaring war and the country start. And same in a personal, our own dynamics, that we think we are better than them. And how dare they do that? They don't deserve that. We deserve it because we're better than them. Subhanallah. I think there's a word for it. I can't remember now. Self something. When you think that you owed everything and nobody else deserves it. I can't remember now. The children normally say the word, but I can't remember. Anyway, going back to the story of the story of Thamud, it shows how arrogance leads us to our own destruction. So this surah Shams, it tells us how we should reflect and how we should purify our soul, how we should determine justice in our personal life and at community level as well. And it's all about self-reflection. Wallahi, it's so important to be self-reflective, to see what you did, why you did it, and what will it achieve. What will it achieve? It's so important to have that sort of mindset. So, subhanAllah. So, coming back to Surah Shams, there's so many contrasts that Allah has done, as I've said, the sun and the moon, and the day and the night, and so many other things as well, so that we understand how everything they have opposites in order for us to understand. And it's so funny. A lot of the time, people say, "Oh, why there's there's evil in the world?" They don't understand. This is Allah's greater plan. That without evil, we wouldn't know what goodness is. there has to be opposite in this world. It doesn't mean Allah may have created evil, but He is no, what's the word? He's no, He doesn't expect, it doesn't require us to do evil. You know, we're not supposed to do evil. We should prevent when we see anything that's having evil. We should try to help and try to rectify that, and subhanallah. So subhanallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this opposite, and then again we know our own being. He came out from two opposite, from man and a woman getting together, and then we are born and we are produced. And subhanallah, and Allah tells us that again and again that look, everything has a beautiful structure and order, and we should bring that in our lives as well. This justice in our lives in our life as well. And subhanallah, some scholars have translated the sun and the moon as a mother and a father, so that they ought to be somebody who's have justice, who has wisdom to lead the household, and the mother is there to give compassion to the children, because a function of a household, a family, is very much highly valued in Islam. When there's good family, there'll be good children. When there are good children, there'll be good community. When there'll be good community, there'll be good society. It all starts from a family. And subhanallah, so the child, it grows holistically, and it can grasp the existence of one true God, Allah, the heaven and the earth. The fitrah is intact. So that's why Allah gives all these examples that how we function in this world. As parents, we should take example of Allah, what He's told us in the Quran. And then, after describing all the natural heavenly bodies, the day and the night, Allah takes the final oath about human soul, that Allah created in perfect order and proportion, just like other natural signs that He pointed out to us as working in such as harmony to bring about goodness. And that is how the soul and our lower self or our desires should work in harmony to bring about good action that will benefit ourselves and those around us as well. So this conflicting emotions, or these things that we have in us, fajura and taqwa, one is that sort of emotional thing, which is trying to burst forth, and it's all me and the ego. But the other is taqwa, is to restraining it, so that we can have pleasure of Allah, and also to benefit ourselves, so we don't react to any stimuli, to any situation. We take a little while, think, and respond with wisdom, to say the right thing, to do the right thing in the right place at the right time. And this comes with inner nur, that when Muslims practice Islam, when they do the 5-time prayer, Allah, cast a nur in their heart, so that they see what's right and wrong, and they react or they respond accordingly. Thank you.